So I've been pretty lucky the past week because I've been able to see some of those heartwarming moments between kids and their parents and kids and other kids and kids and teachers. We were just in Calgary for the volleyball nationals, and you know, it's so heartwarming to see parents and their kids, you know, have this connection where they're doing something together and it's important to both of them, but more so it's important to their kid. And this past week we had a soccer tournament at our school with our kindergarten to grade 7 kids, and we mixed the teams. So kindergartens are playing with grade 7s and grade 1s and 2s are out there, and it's all mixed. And the camaraderie between these little kids and the big kids is so important. The attachment that they have and the respect and the trust they have is just amazing. And I'm so lucky sometimes to be in those positions to see that. It's been a while since I've done a walk and talk, so thank you for being patient. This Saturday's walk and talk is about attachment. You know, one person I want to draw your attention to, and I know I do a lot of name dropping, and this name is going to be familiar to a lot of people, and that's Gabor Mate. And Gabor Mate is such a strong advocate for attachment and kids and parents connecting together. Because when kids feel connected, you know, they listen, they seek guidance, they trust us, and they always come back to us, not because they have to, but because they want to. It's that knowledge and that feeling that no matter what, mom or dad is going to be there for them. And, you know, the reason why I feel like I have to talk about this is because as much as I loved what I saw at Nationals with the parents and the attachment and the connection between parents and their kids, I also saw a lot of parents on their phones. I saw a lot of parents not paying attention to their kids. I saw a lot of kids feeling like you could see it on their face. They'd look up and their parents' face was in their phone. And so I think it's one of those things that I have to talk about, because as parents, we're so busy, we're so consumed by our lives that oftentimes we forget that our people need us. And it's easier when they're little because they kind of demand that, but when they start turning 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, you know, into that teenage years, and they push us away and they go to their rooms and they try to hide from us, it's really hard to maintain that relationship at times. But it's more important than ever when they're teenagers to do that. You know, and developmentally, when you attach to your kids, as Gabor Mate said, when your kids have that faith and trust, that means they're going to confide in you, they're going to talk to you, they're going to trust you when they are going through the toughest moments in their lives. You know, and it's so cliche when parents and people say, when you grow up or when you get into real life, things are going to be different. And I just want to remind people that kids are experiencing emotions, they're experiencing life, so they're actually living life. It just might not be about bills or any of that other stuff. So for them, when they're emotional, that attachment is super important. You know, and over the years, I've seen it and experienced it over and over again with kids, where when they're struggling at school, they're struggling at home, the first thing they do is they look for that teacher who sees me, who can help me, who can I trust. You know, and I've talked about it in other videos where I've had kids call me dad by accident, or uncle even by accident, or I've seen kids call other teachers mom or grandma. You know, and it's because that attachment piece is there, and sometimes they miss it at home. You know, the other thing that we have to realize when we're talking about attachment as well is that kids aren't going to use words to get you to pay attention to them and to connect with them. It's going to come in the form of behavior. They may act up, they may get frustrated, they may get whiny, they may get silly, because they're going to get the attention that they're craving when you're not giving it to them. But the important piece is they shouldn't have to get to that place. And I'm not asking you to do a lot, but attachment is super important, especially over the summer, because they need to know that you want to be part of their lives. Whether it be looking for 4-leaf clovers, you know, whether it's going outside to throw the football around, or to go to the swimming pool, or going down to the river, whatever it is, they need to know that you can be with them. So one of the things that I would like you to do in the month of June, heading into the summertime, is I want you to deliberately spend 20 minutes a day with your kids. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when I say 20 minutes, I mean a solid 20 minutes where you're doing what your kid wants to do. I think this might be a good time to stitch in a couple videos of some of the things that my kids had me do that are pretty funny. It might embarrass them, but you know, it's important.
Go, barrel racing. Boom. Dog's in the way. 10 seconds. You're gonna have to go hard and finish, don't off the barrel.
You know, in that 20 minutes, it's all about connection. So you don't get to give them commands. You don't get to tell them what to do. You don't get to put boundaries on what they want to play. You don't get to ask questions. Just be with them. You know, you've seen those videos where you get these dads dressed up in princess outfits and they're having a tea party with their daughter. I mean, who hasn't been there if you're a girl dad? You know, it's things like that. It's giving your kids your undivided attention in their creative world. And if you do that, just 20 minutes a day, that is going to have a massive impact on their self-esteem. That's going to have a massive impact on how much they trust you. It's going to have a massive impact on how they go about relating to other adults and other kids, knowing that they're safe and that they can trust people. You know, in schools, one of the things that we constantly say as principals and teachers is that relationships are important, because kids will run through a brick wall for you if they have a relationship with you, if they know that they can trust you. You know, and it's the same thing with parents. It's that undivided attention, that 20 minutes a day where you're just literally doing whatever they want to do. As silly as it may be, as weird as it may be, as uncomfortable as it may be, you know, it is so important that you can dive into their creative realm. And you know, if you start with just 20 minutes a day, literally 20 minutes a day, I know you're tired, I know you're exhausted, I know you want to probably jump on your phone, but come home, mom and dad, and not together. Mom do it for 20 minutes a day, dad do it for 20 minutes a day, grandma do it for 20 minutes. Just take 20 minutes to dive into their world, and that connection is going to have a massive impact on their well-being. You know, when you do that, when you go like hunt bugs, you know, there was a kid at school the other day and he had this container and it was filled with leaves, and he found a caterpillar with his EA that he was working with, and he was so excited to share it, and she was so excited to share that with me as well. And I mean, and that's just it, you know, because our kids, they don't want more stuff. They don't want more stuff. Genuinely, yeah, sure, they can get sucked into some of that stuff, but they don't want more stuff. They want your time. They don't want materialism. They just want you to spend some time with them in their world. You know, it's not about the big gestures. It's about the small interactions that happen every single day that build that connection. And connections built in those tiny 20-minute moments throughout the day, multiple times a day if you can get to that point. That's where connection is really built. You know, listening to each other, laughing with each other, being with each other, your phones down, being creative, being critical thinkers, communicating. Like, I beat the emotional intelligence horse to death some of the times, but you being there with your kids and you attaching with them and you spending time with them develops those emotional intelligence skills. It develops those creativity skills. It develops the communication skills. It also makes them more personally and socially aware, which are things that are going to help them with their friendships at school. It's going to help them when they're learning new things at school, you know, and it's going to just help the relationship that you have with them. So to make a long story short, get outside, do something weird, do something fun, put on a tiara, have a tea party, go hunt bugs, Do all those things that you used to do when you were a kid before technology came into the picture, because attachment is so important. And on that note, my friends, peace out. See you in a couple Saturdays.